Okay, let's unpack this.
That is precisely what we are here to do.
We are diving deep today into a massive stack of source material on a man whose name isn't just synonymous with speed it. Well, it fundamentally redefined it. We're talking, of course, about Usain St. Leo Bolt, who is, widely regarded across the globe as the single greatest sprinter of all time.
And the scale of his achievement, it really demands this kind of forensic analysis.
It does. We've synthesized everything, the career summaries, the biomechanical research on his technique, and all the biographical data that tracks him from this tiny Jamaican town all the way to the Olympic podium.
What's fascinating here, and this is really the core mission we need to synthesize for you today, is just the sheer consistency and the jaw-dropping magnitude of his records.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at a man who is an 8-time Olympic gold medalist. He currently holds the world records for the 100 meter at 9.58 seconds, the 200 meters at 19.19, and the 4x100 relay.
And when you just zero in on that Olympic streak alone, it's a statistical anomaly.
It is.
He is the only sprinter to win both the 100-meter and 200-meter titles at 3 consecutive Olympic Games: Beijing, London, and Rio.
Right. 2008, 2012, 2016.
So that's what we're hunting for in these sources. We want to get past the highlight reel and really understand how he achieved that kind of dominance, the actual numbers behind the Lightning Bolt nickname, and, the unexpected challenges he faced on and off the track.
Exactly. We're looking for those structural insights that explain not just what he did, but how he managed that tension between his immense natural talent and, well, the rigorous discipline needed at that elite level, and how that ultimately changed sprinting forever.
That's the perfect framing. So let's start at the very beginning. Part 1, the roots and rapid ascent, the making of a champion. We'll cover his earliest years up to, say, that turning point in 2004.
Right. So Bolt was born August 21st, 1986, in Sherwood Content, a really rural village in Trelawny, Jamaica. The sources make it clear his childhood was incredibly grounded. His parents ran the local grocery store, and his early focus was, school and local sports. Definitely not international track.
Not at all. His first loves were not for the track. He's quoted saying, "When I was young, I didn't really think about anything other than sports, but for him, that meant cricket and football."
Right. He was a huge European football fan. Real Madrid and especially Manchester United.
And this is such a crucial point. His whole career basically began by accident, or, by observation.
A cricket coach. His incredible speed was first noticed by a cricket coach at his high school who watched him on the pitch and just realized his talent would be much better served on a track.
Which is just wild to think about. Without that intervention, the trajectory of the fastest man alive might have been completely different.
And as soon as he moves into track, the sources immediately highlight this duality in his character that would really define his entire career. He was coached initially by Pablo McNeil, a former Olympic sprinter. But the material is just full of McNeil's frustration. He often complained about Bolt's lack of dedication and his penchant for practical jokes.
So you have this tension right from the start, this battle between, generational, immense natural talent and this initially unfocused, almost lazy attitude.
It absolutely foreshadows the discipline problems he'd face over and over, even at his peak. The real insight here is that his path wasn't a straight line. He was this incredibly gifted kid who had to be actively steered towards track and then constantly managed.
But that steering, however unwillingly he took it at times, it paid off almost immediately in his junior career between 2001 and 2003.
Yeah, he debuted internationally at the 2001 Carifta Games, won silver in both the 200 and the 400.
But the real moment of truth, that psychological turning point, was the 2002 World Junior Championships. He's only 15, and he's competing in front of a huge expectant home crowd in Kingston.
And he just physically stood out. He was already 6'5", just towering over all the other junior athletes.
And yet, the pressure of that moment, it nearly broke him.
It did. The sources have that now famous anecdote where he was so nervous before the 200-meter race that he actually put his shoes on the wrong feet.
Can you imagine?
He realized the mistake, fixed it, and then went on to win in 20.61 seconds, making him the youngest world junior gold medalist ever.
He used that moment of near failure as this transformative lesson. He vowed he'd never let pre-race nerves affect him like that again.
And the results were instant. In 2003, he just dominated. 4 golds at the Carifta Games, then another gold at the World Youth Championships, setting a new record in the 200-meter, even though he was running into a headwind.
The pace of his improvement was just so aggressive. By the 2003 Jamaican high school champs, he was shattering records. I mean, the 200-meter time he ran, it broke the previous record by over half a second.
Which is an eternity in sprinting.
It is, and that's when the track establishment really sat up and took notice. Michael Johnson, the 200-meter world record holder at the time, he publicly noted Bolt's potential.
But he also expressed some concern, right? He said something like, it's all about what he does 3, 4, 5 years down the line. He worried the kid might be overpressured.
Exactly. Johnson admitted that at 16, Bolt was already hitting times he didn't hit until he was 20. The potential was obvious, but the consistency was the big question mark.
That early success got a little derailed by his first major disappointment in 2003. He got conjunctivitis right before the Senior World Championships in Paris.
Yeah, and the JAA, the Jamaican Athletics Association, they just refused to let him compete. They said he was too young, too inexperienced to handle it while he was sick. It was a tough blow.
Which brings us to his transition to the professional ranks. In 2004, under a new coach, Fitz Coleman, Bolt turns pro and just immediately makes a statement.
A huge one. He sets the world junior record for the 200 meters at 19.93 seconds. The first junior sprinter ever to break 20 seconds.
But then came the 2004 Athens Olympics, and it was a really difficult learning curve for him.
That hamstring injury just flared up again. It completely hampered his form, and he was eliminated in the very first round of the 200 meters. A really harsh welcome to the senior stage.
And that struggle, it prompted the most significant change of his early career. In 2005, he starts working with Coach Glenn Mills.
A master tactician.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mills's explicit goal was to curb what he saw as Bolt's unprofessional approach to the sport. But the injury pattern continued. At the Helsinki World Champs, he makes the final, but gets injured mid-race and finishes dead last.
It's remarkable, though. Even with that terrible finish, the sources note he was the youngest person ever to appear in a 200-meter world final. He was breaking records even when he was injured.
It's incredible. He was just a raw physical phenomena.
The sources highlight a huge turning point here. Up to now, Bolt was known strictly as a 200 and 400-meter guy, but now the man who would become the fastest in the world, he was about to demand a switch to the 100 meters. A demand his coach was dead set against.
And that takes us to part 2, defining the sprint, the 100-meter challenge.
This period, 2006 to 2007, it's defined by managing those injuries and this really significant internal push.
Yeah, another hamstring issue forces him out of the 2006 Commonwealth Games. His recovery plan involved a lot of new exercises for flexibility, and crucially, that long-term plan to move him up to the 400 meters, which Mills still wanted, was officially put on hold.
And this is where the conflict between the athlete and coach really comes to a head. Mills was still convinced his future was in the 400-meter. He thought Bolt's frame and stamina were perfect for it.
But Bolt was just not having it. He hated the 400-meter training. He was less enthusiastic, as the sources put it. He was tired of the hamstring problems, and he demanded to try the 100, thinking it would be less strain.
Coach Mills was deeply skeptical, and you can see why. He pointed to 2 major technical flaws.
First, Bolt's poor start, which is just fatal in the 100-meter. And second, that habit he had of looking back at his opponents mid-race.
Right, so Mills couldn't just say no. He laid down a challenge. He told Bolt he could only run the 100 meters if he first broke the 200-meter national record.
The price of admission.
Exactly. And Bolt met that challenge spectacularly. At the Jamaican Championships, he runs 19.75 seconds in the 200, smashing Don Quarry's 36-year-old national record. Mills had no choice.
And the transition was instantly successful. In his debut 100-meter tournament in Crete, he immediately wins gold with a time of 10.03.
It completely validated his instinct, and this tactical shift leads directly to his senior breakthrough at the 2007 World Championships in Osaka.
Right. He didn't get individual gold, but he won 2 silvers. One in the 200 meters, only beaten by Tyson Gay's championship record.
And the second silver in the 4x100-meter relay, where Jamaica set a new national record.
And what's crucial here is that Mills was already seeing the benefits. The sources confirmed that the shorter high-speed training regimen for the 100-meter had improved his balance on the 200-meter turns and his stride frequency.
So the 100-meter training accidentally made him a better 200-meter runner.
Exactly. It optimizes performance in his main event.
Which takes us right up to 2008, the pre-Olympic season, where he just shatters the world record. He was motivated by those 2 silvers and took a much more serious approach.
The improvements weren't just small steps. They were seismic. On May 3rd, 2008, in Kingston, Bolt runs 9.76 in the 100 meters. At the time, that was the second fastest legal performance in history.
And his rivals, Tyson Gay, Michael Johnson, they were just openly shocked at how fast he'd improved.
Then, less than a month later, it happened. May 31st, 2008, in New York City. In only his fifth senior 100-meter race, Usain Bolt sets a new world record of 9.72 seconds.
The reactions from his peers, they tell the whole story. Tyson Gay, who came in second, said, "It looked like his knees were going past my face."
It's an amazing quote. And so the strategic choice for Beijing was obvious. He had to double up on the 100-meter and 200-meter.
That record sets the stage for part 3, Beijing and Berlin achieving immortality. This is where he goes from a fast athlete to a true global icon.
The 2008 Beijing Olympics begin, and he's now the reluctant favorite for both sprints.
So let's break down the 100-meter final. August 16th, Bolt wins in 9.69 seconds, lowering his own world record. And there was 0 wind assistance.
The sheer spectacle of it is still one of the most talked about moments in sports history. He visibly slows down, looks around, celebrates before he even hits the finish line.
And his shoelace was untied.
It was an exhibition of contemptuous dominance.
Then the scientists got involved. Right, they actually tried to calculate what his time could have been.
Exactly. The University of Oslo did this incredible analysis. They figured if he hadn't celebrated, if he'd just run straight through the line.
Was that the number?
9.55, potentially, which is just... It's mind-boggling to think that his current record could have been set 4 years earlier, almost by accident.
It's incredible. But that celebration, it did spark some controversy. The IOC president, Jacques Raj, he condemned it, said it was disrespectful.
He did, but he was strongly defended by the IAAF president and Jamaican officials. They called it a joyful expression. It really shows how important Bolt had already become to the sport's image. They couldn't really criticize him too heavily.
2 days later, he secures the double. In the 200-meter final, he sprints hard all the way and wins in 19.30 seconds, breaking Michael Johnson's 1996 record.
A record many thought was untouchable. This made him an historical figure. The first sprinter to hold both 100 meters and 200-meter world records simultaneously since electronic timing, and the first to break both at the same Olympics.
He wrapped up his track campaign running a third leg in the 4x100-meter relay, setting a third world record.
Now, here's that critical, unfortunate asterisk we have to mention. That relay gold medal was officially stripped in January 2017.
Right, because Nesta Carter, one of his teammates, tested positive for a banned substance in a retest of a sample from 2008. So his official Olympic tally is 8 golds, not 9.
Right, which then sets this incredibly high stage for the 2009 Berlin World Championships. He comes back focused, determined, having fully embraced the Lightning Bolt nickname. And the 100-meter final in Berlin is, for many, the moment. He runs 9.58 seconds, a record that still stands today. The key metric here is the margin of improvement. He bettered his own record by 0.11 seconds. That is the single largest jump in the 100-meter world record since electronic timing began.
And the speed metrics are just insane. His top recorded speed during that run was 12.42 meters per second. That's almost 28 miles an hour.
And to put that in context, the biomechanical analysis shows he took just 41 steps. His competitors were averaging 44. That incredible stride length, it's why he could beat Tyson Gay so decisively, even though Gay ran a brilliant 9.71.
He wasn't done. 4 days later, in the 200-meter final, he breaks his own world record again by another 0.11 seconds, finishing in 19.19.
He won that race by the largest margin in World Championships history. Sean Crawford, the 2004 champion, said, "I felt like I was in a video game. That guy was moving fast."
And Bolt himself credited his improved technical execution. His reaction times in Berlin were just way better than they were in Beijing. The discipline from Coach Mills had finally become second nature.
The cultural recognition he got was just immense. The mayor of Berlin gave him a 12-foot section of the Berlin Wall, saying he'd shown that one can tear down walls that had been considered as insurmountable.
It was hugely symbolic. He had really broken a psychological barrier in human performance. He was, at this point, a genuine sporting immortal. Which moves us into part 4, sustaining that superstar status from 2010 to 2016. And the sources confirm maintaining that peak was incredibly hard.
Yeah, the first major crack appears in 2010. He suffers a very public loss to Tyson Gay in the 100 meters in Stockholm.
It was only his second career loss in a 100-meter final. And he was startlingly candid afterwards. He admitted he'd slacked off in training.
That self-admission, it really confirms that lingering tension between his talent and his discipline, which set up a lot of tension going into the 2011 World Championships in Daegu.
He was the heavy favorite, but then came that catastrophic moment in the 100-meter final, the false start.
The highest profile DQ you could imagine. The IAAF just changed the rules so there were no second chances. He was just eliminated immediately.
It was a huge controversy. His rival, Johann Blake, won the gold in what the sources called a comparatively slow 9.92 seconds.
But the true measure of a champion is resilience, right? Bolt bounced back immediately. He returned in the 200-meter final and won in a dominant 19.40.
And then he anchored the 4x100-meter relay team to another world record. It was an incredible recovery.
That rivalry with Blake just kept building, creating immense pressure for the 2012 London Olympics. Bolt faced so many questions after he lost both the 100 and the 200 to Blake at the Jamaican trials.
The narrative was really shifting. Was this the end of the Bolt era? But in London, he delivered a truly legendary performance.
In the 100-meter final, he won gold in 9.63, a new Olympic record. He became the first man to defend that title since Carl Lewis.
And the 200-meter defense was even more dominant. He won, leading a full Jamaican podium sweep, the first man in history to defend both sprint titles.
And he was so dramatic after. He put his finger to his lips to silence the critics and declared, "I'm now a legend. I'm also the greatest athlete to live."
He cemented that claim on the final day, anchoring the 4x100-meter team to another world record, 36.84 seconds.
And it's worth pausing on the financial context. After London 2012, he was confirmed as the highest-earning track and field athlete in history.
His dominance continues into the 2013 World Championships in Moscow. He regains his 100-meter title, beating Justin Gatlin in wet conditions.
Then he wins the 200-meter, becoming the first man to win 3 gold medals in that distance at the Worlds.
And the relay gold completed the triple sweep, making him the most successful athlete in the 30-year history of the championships.
The momentum did stall a bit in 2014. He had hamstring injury that kept him out for 9 weeks.
So with no major championship that year, his rival Justin Gatlin really dominated the sprints, setting himself up as the favorite for the next big showdown.
Which creates this incredible tension for the 2015 Beijing World Championships. For the first time in a long time, Bolt was not the comfortable favorite.
The sources describe it as the showdown track and field needed. Bolt, the clean, smiling star against Gatlin, the polarizing rival with past doping bans.
And the hallmark of Bolt was always performing under pressure. In a razor-thin 100-meter final, he leaned at the line to beat Gatlin, 9.79 to 9.80.
Just 1/100th of a second. The psychological victory was massive. And then a similar outcome in the 200-meter. Bolt delivers one of his fastest runs ever, 19.55, and wins comfortably.
And that brought him to his final Olympics in Rio in 2016. He was laser-focused on his legacy, stating his goal was to be ranked among greats Muhammad Ali and Pele.
And in Rio, he delivered the ultimate statement. He won the 100-meter gold, becoming the first athlete to win it 3 times.
Then he followed that with the 200-meter gold, again, the first to win it 3 times.
And the crowning achievement was leading the 4x100-meter relay to gold, completing the mythical triple-triple. He finished his Olympic career with a 100% win record in every final he ever ran.
Though again, for historical accuracy, we have to mention that 2008 relay gold was stripped. So his final tally is 8 Olympic golds.
Which is still an incredible number. And with that, he announced his plan to retire after the 2017 World Championships in London.
Which brings us to part 5, the final lap and life after track. And that farewell in London was just so dramatic. It was like his whole career compressed into 1 week.
It really was. His final individual race, the 100 meters, he finishes 3rd. He took bronze behind Christian Coleman and the new champion, Justin Gatlin.
It was a shock. It broke his 4-year winning streak and was his first defeat at a major championship since 2007.
And his final race ever, the 4x100-meter relay, was just absolutely heartbreaking. He's anchoring the team, and about 50 meters from the line, he pulls up with a hamstring injury and just collapses.
But that refusal to quit, even then, it just encapsulated his entire career. He refused a wheelchair, and his teammates helped him cross the finish line. A really painful final act of dedication.
After retirement, his legacy was, cemented in bronze. A statue of him in his signature lightning bolt pose was unveiled at the National Stadium in Kingston.
And now let's get into some of the personal and health insights which make his achievements even more remarkable. He wrote in his autobiography that he suffers from scoliosis,
a curvature of the spine. And the physical consequence of that for a sprinter is huge. His right leg is half an inch shorter than his left.
Biomechanics researchers have studied this asymmetry a lot. It causes an uneven stride. There's no firm conclusion on whether it helped or hurt him, but the fact is he achieved the fastest speeds in human history while managing a structural spinal condition.
Right. And his marketability was defined by that off-track persona. Laid back, witty, enthusiastic.
And that signature pose, the lightning bolt that became universally recognized, it actually came from Jamaican dancehall moves. The cultural export was as powerful as the athletic one.
Let's pivot to the commercial side of being Usain Bolt, his financial power and his post-track ventures.
He is, without a doubt, the highest paid athlete in track history. In 2016 alone, the sources say he earned around $33 million, making him the only track athlete on the Forbes list of highest paid athletes.
His relationship with his main sponsor, Puma, is legendary. And this is important. He always insisted that ads featuring him be filmed in Jamaica by Jamaican crews to boost the local economy.
That commitment extended to his entrepreneurship. In 2018, he co-founded an electric scooter company, Bolt Mobility.
But the business world is a different kind of race. Bolt Mobility just abruptly ceased operations in July 2022, leaving a lot of bike-sharing programs in limbo.
In contrast, though, he had a really strong commitment to public health in Jamaica. He partnered with a dental 3D printing company to launch Bolt Labs, which aims to increase access to cost-effective dental care.
And we can't ignore his move into music. He debuted as a dancehall producer in 2019.
On the personal side, he's with his partner Cassie Bennett, and they have 3 children, a daughter, Olympia Lightning, and twin boys, Thunder and St. Leo.
But his post-career phase has had this huge, dramatic setback. In January 2023, it was reported that over $12 million was missing from his retirement savings account due to an alleged fraud scheme.
It's a staggering loss, even for him. A former employee was charged, but as of early 2025, no payout has occurred. It's a really sober reminder that even the highest-paid track athlete in history can be a victim of alleged fraud.
Let's quickly look at his sporting crossovers, starting with cricket, his first love. He always said he would have been a fast bowler.
And he had the talent. In a charity match, he actually clean bowled the famous batsman Chris Gayle. He even seriously considered playing in Australia's Big Bash League.
But the biggest aspiration was football, soccer. As a huge Man United fan, he trained with a Norwegian club, even wearing the number 9.58 on his jersey.
He then trained with an Australian A-League club and scored 2 goals in a friendly. But the analysis from the pros was pretty blunt. One rival player said his first touch was like a trampoline.
Ouch. That reality check seemed to be the end of it. He officially ended his pursuit of a football career in January 2019, saying his sports life is over.
And we also found an interesting note about the NFL. He said he might have considered being a wide receiver if the rules on violent tackles had been stricter earlier. He was worried about being a high-priced target for very heavy hits.
So it's clear that the unique blend of attributes for sprinting, that speed combined with his long, powerful stride, that was where he was just simply unstoppable.
If we connect all this to the bigger picture, his legacy isn't just the 8 Olympic goals. It's the sheer scale of his record improvements and his sustained excellence, despite physical limitations like scoliosis and those early periods of being unfocused. He delivered when it mattered most.
What stands out to you is that Bolt didn't just win. He became a global cultural force. His pose, his nickname, they became universally recognized. He helped track and field recover from some major drug scandals, offering this singular, smiling, worldwide star the sport desperately needed.
And that star power gave him the leverage to control the global conversation for a generation, demanding respect for a sport that had kind of lost its way.
So this raises an important question for you, the listener, to mull over. Given his unparalleled dominance, and the treble sprinters have today even getting close to his 9.58 record, has Usain Bolt permanently redefined the absolute limit of human speed? Or is 9.58 simply the best time recorded by an athlete who, by his own admission, sometimes slowed down before the finish line?
That scientific potential of 9.55 seconds, it remains one of the great hypothetical milestones of sport. It's a ghost time that reminds us that even the best ever recorded might not be the actual physical limit.
Until next time.
Thank you.